Are you ready to go?
We're ready.
Episode 6?
Episode 6.
We're back. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Mano Pod. We got a new little cover art. What do you think about that?
What do you mean?
On the pod, the new pod.
Oh, that thing's sick.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I went on Fiverr. It's like a freelancing website, and now I sent them an AI ChatGPT little mock of it, and they came back with that thing, and I was like, this is awesome. So
I thought you were referencing our new decor.
well, that was gonna be the second reference because our sponsor,
Mano Wellness.
they decided to pump it up a little bit,
It's
right?
actually-
we got some apparel. These sweatshirts are fire, by the way. We got 2 shirts. We got the hat, and then if you guys notice on the sides too, we got a little shelving as well. We are the Monomobile.
It's coming together.
It's coming together.
The merch
Don't
is
let them
sick.
see the front. Like what's behind the camera or under the camera now. We don't want them to see that.
I mean, go on Instagram and watch the video because the van as a whole is sick.
It's on YouTube. Well, and Instagram.
Yeah,
but-
Instagram.
Yeah, but they can watch the podcast on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. Carson, what we got? We have,
Merch is sick.
it's been a week or two since the
that
last
video.
recording. So you've had plenty of walks.
I've had a lot of walks.
Haven't had any walks together. A little upsetting.
I know.
A little cold out,
Ooh.
though.
It's been very cold. But either way,
Give it to me.
first off, you probably don't want to talk about this, but let's just congratulate the Philadelphia Eagles on a performance for the ages. I mean, just pure domination. Plan, execute, dominate, did it. That's it. That's how you should be in your workout routines.
You know, I won't comment on it. I will just say from one friend, one football lover, one fan of sports,
Mm-hmm.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Before you get into your question,
Yeah.
I'm getting a call.
Is that Joey?
I think we got a listener question.
He said that he was going to call in during
All
one
right.
of these podcasts.
We got a listener question. We are going to do this live. Let's see what we got. Hold up.
Did you tell him we were recording?
I'm about to. Hey, Joey, we are live. We're recording. Just a heads up.
What's going on?
What up, Pa?
What's going on, Carson?
How
are
we doing?
Good, man. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. We were about to get into it, but we were just riffing. I had to congratulate him on the win.
I called Joe last night on my walk, and we riffed for about an hour about the Eagles win.
I mean, how do you not?
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
maybe the most dominant performance in NFL.
That's what I just said.
So let's pivot then. Joey, while we got you on the pod, give us a listener question.
Oh, yeah. First listener question?
I think this is the first listener question.
First time caller, long time listener.
First time caller. Exactly. You know the deal.
And it might not be the last time either.
Oh, it definitely will not be.
Yeah, you got to
Well,
send us,
how this goes, right?
Joe. You got to send us like your best headshot. So we'll just put it on the YouTube so everyone can see like what kind of aura you bring.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I can get an aura pick for you.
Yeah, keep your tarp on though.
I got some editing features I can do.
All right, that sounds like a plan.
Let's hear it.
All right. My question around sleep specifically was around like supplementation around sleep. So I've seen a lot on social media, like I think a lot of people probably get their information from, on magnesium and how that does benefits for sleep. Then I've seen stuff about like different types of magnesium and like which one benefits sleep, sometimes benefits energies. Anything you can provide kind of information on that.
Love that. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to take your question because I can go so long into this, and we're actually going to do a sleep episode. So I'm going to answer your question, start with supplements, and then that's going to go into the entire conversation of sleep. So I appreciate that.
Awesome.
You're going to have to wait until Monday because this is, as of today, it's Thursday. So you're going to have to wait till Monday for your answer.
All right. Can't wait for Monday.
Appreciate the question, Joey. We will get back to you.
Of course.
See you,
ya,
brother.
Pa.
I love that.
Joey's a G.
All right, let's do it. So let's answer this question. We're going to talk about sleep, and we're going to talk about, we'll start with sleep supplements. I think we'll go into the supplements just to answer Joey's question, but then I feel like we're going to have to take a step back to kind of go into the foundations of sleep in general.
I mean, I know, just when he first asked this question, this hasn't made its way to my reels. I haven't seen anything about sleep supplementation, so I'm very interested to hear more about it.
Yeah.
I heard some stuff that magnesium might be the cheat code, and that was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about outside the pod, but we might as well do it on. I don't know much about it, if at all. Like, how do you even take it? Where do you get it? Stuff like that. So I'm gonna sit back and learn.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to touch on magnesium, but let's go sleep supplements in general. So sleep aids. I want to start there because you have sleep supplements and you have sleep pharmaceuticals like sleep drugs.
I didn't even know sleep supplements was a category.
Yeah, it is. There's a category for every single
guess so.
supplement.
Yeah.
The caveat here is, look, the most important thing for sleep is natural and real sleep. Right, people jump into supplements thinking that there's something else going on and there's a reason behind why they can't sleep. But at the end of the day, we kind of mentioned the whole thing on the last episode about routines and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to get into that people should be doing before they go into supplements and before they go into any other kind of sleep aid. Because supplements, the word supplement is to supplement something that you're already doing. You take away protein powder because it's going to help you get more protein and you're supplementing your already healthy diet. So that's the most important piece is don't just supplement to supplement. Supplement to optimize after you do all the other things that I know we're going to get into as we go into the
Do
foundation.
you want to lay a foundation of why sleep is so important, or do you want to start with the supplement?
We could, because as long as we don't forget to get into supplements, I want to answer Joey's question. But at least I'll answer the magnesium question because that was it, and then we can go into more sleep aids and stuff like that.
Sounds fair.
Magnesium, I'm totally for. And the research is totally for it. What magnesium is actually an electrolyte. So I don't know if we mentioned electrolytes, but when you talk about hydration, electrolytes, you have sodium, you have potassium, and then the other main one is magnesium. You have a couple of others as well. But those are the main electrolytes. And electrolytes are so key for our body. But this is where, again, we should probably have a whole episode on electrolytes because not everyone needs them, especially with the standard American diet. But with magnesium specifically, magnesium is an electrolyte that is so important for mental and physical relaxation. Reason behind this is because with sodium and potassium, it gets a little bit into the science. What's happening is they are moving in and out of every single cell in our body. And you know from basic biology, we are made up of cells. So this is a very important process. Sodium and potassium, along with water, are moving in and out of our cells to hydrate us. What is the regulator of that is magnesium. Magnesium is controlling that. So if you're deficient in magnesium, then that process is going to get impacted. So the reason that magnesium is so important is because, one, it's very hard to get through actual foods.
That's what I was going to ask. Can you get it through foods?
Yeah, 100%. Like, for example, almonds are rich in magnesium. So you can, but this is one of those supplements where it's really hard. Like multivitamins. Multivitamins are an essential supplement because with our food right now, it's very hard to get all of your micronutrients, all of your vitamins and minerals through whole foods.
Is it like a daily supplement you're shooting for?
Absolutely.
So you're shooting for a certain percentage of magnesium, or not percentage, but dosage of magnesium?
Milligrams. Yeah. So and this is with sleep, but this is also for in general.
Got it.
Because it's mental and physical relaxation. It's going to help with sleep, but it's going to help with life. And so if you get a magnesium, most of them are in powdered form. You can get them in a pill. Most of them are in powdered form, and one scoop of magnesium should have around 400 milligrams. That's kind of the general recommendation of what you want, and then it'll just depend on your activity level.
Any time during the day?
No, you want to take it at the end of the day.
Oh, you do want to take it at the
day after your main bouts of physical activity, because of that mental and physical relaxation component of it.
So you're really going to feel the difference?
Look, could it be a placebo? Absolutely. I don't know if you're going to actually feel the difference. Where I've noticed the difference is in my Garmin metrics, my sleep metrics. So how quickly I go to sleep, my heart rate variability, my resting heart rate, those metrics I have seen a difference of when I do take it and when I don't take it.
You are what the numbers say you are.
And I study them numbers.
Yeah.
So, Joey,
you like the numbers.
Appreciate the question. We're going to get into more sleep aids because I know you asked about it, and I definitely want to touch on melatonin. But in terms of magnesium, I am definitely a big fan of it. Mental and physical relaxation for, yes, sleep, but just life performance.
Nice.
Foundation, let's hit it.
Yeah, I want to talk more about, because when we were talking about possibly doing sleep, people will tell you all the time sleep is the most important thing you should get in your day, or it's one of the most important things you could do, I should say. And everyone agrees. It's like everyone's unanimous. You should be getting you should be trying to get your minimum number of sleep, or else you're affected. And I think people see that through their own lens of like, yeah, when I don't get my sleep, I'm tired. But do we actually know why it's so important?
Oh.
So what are the actual effects you're getting or the defects you're getting when you're not hitting your numbers? And what is that number? What's that? Does everyone have a different number? Is there a magical number? Talk to me.
I'm so happy you said defect. Because when it comes to sleep, this is very different than how I teach people about the why behind nutrition and exercise. Because with sleep, man, it took me all the way up through grad school to understand how valuable sleep is. Because what's the connotation in today's world? Sleep when you're dead. I am trying to cut that out, and I'm trying to put sleep, I don't want to say above nutrition and exercise, but it's that important.
Can I say a quote that I heard in high school from one of our teachers who was the cross-country coach? He actually said, I tell my runners, if you did a great workout that day and then went home and didn't get the sleep you were supposed to, you just wasted everything you did in that workout. I don't care how well you did. And I think he was being maybe a little dramatic, but maybe he wasn't. His emphasis was like, you can lay all the groundwork you want during the day, but if you don't give your mind, your body that time at night, you're wasting it away.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go through what I don't want to go through, and this is the negatives of sleep. If you're sleep deficient, if you're getting
The
poor
lack thereof sleep.
I hate focusing on the negatives, but I think this is important for sleep so people understand the why behind it.
Yeah.
Because the benefits are reversing all of these.
Right.
Dude, with sleep and sleep deficiency, it's wild that you think about anything wellness related, anything our body related, anything negative that can happen to our body, sleep can be a factor. Literally.
So, clarify. You mean sleep can fix it or just decrease the likelihood?
It can damage it, and it could potentially fix it. Right? So let's get into some of the specifics. So on a broad scale, we have let's start with mental health, because that's very important right now. Stress management. Sleep is a direct correlation to stress management. There is a direct correlation when you are sleep deficient to your mood, anxiety, depression, ability to be creative, innovative. Like everything from a mental thing that we do is directly related to the amount of sleep that you get and then the quality of sleep that you get. Literally everything.
I want to talk about that more. Keep going. I want to emphasize the quality and how the benefits or how you can get to the most quality sleep, but keep going.
Yeah, save the quality question because I want to go in through I can give 4 takeaways for it.
Cool.
But so from a mental standpoint, when we are sleeping, we are literally healing the brain. There's no other time our brain is always activated.
And body, no?
And body, but I'm talking about
I got you. Mental
first.
health. I apologize.
There is nothing more healing that we can do for our brain than sleep, because it's the only time where we go through these different stages, whether it's deep sleep, complete dead rest, or we go through this activation stage of sleep where our brain is actually being innovative and having nerve connections and all these things. Like, this is really hard to explain, which is why people don't understand why sleep is so important, is because it is that fascinating. So let me give you an example why college students are the perfect example, right? What do we do in college? Well, first off, we wait till the last minute to do an exam, study for an exam or do a homework assignment. We stay up really late, and then we wake up early to try to cram in whatever last things that we can get to study, right?
Bringing back a lot of memories.
Right, a lot of memories, because this is why it took me all the way through grad school to understand this.
Yeah.
I thought I was just a bad test taker. But what's happening is you're cramming all this information in the night before, right? So it's going into your short-term memory block. Then you don't sleep. So you go through this long period of time where you can forget the information. Then you wake up early. Then you try to cram in more information. And then you take the test. What's happening by you not getting sleep is you are not taking that short-term memory or those short-term experiences and putting them into your long-term memory. So I have a cool analogy for this. It's like a computer storage versus a hard drive. The computer storage is that short-term memory that you're studying all the words, whatever you're trying to learn for the test. That's all going into your computer storage, but it's gonna fill up unless you transfer it over to a hard drive, to a long-term storage bank that has more capacity. You're not going to remember everything. It's going to run out. Your computer's going to slow down. You're going to slow down. Now, the human being, it's obviously way smaller.
Right.
But what sleep does is it takes that short-term memory or those experiences that you have throughout the day and puts them into the hard drive. It puts them into long-term storage so that you can actually remember for the
analogy.
test. Right?
Yeah.
So by people not sleeping, they're not taking their day-to-day experiences and putting it into their long-term memory. That's a memory example, right? Then I can get into the physical side of things. If you're not sleeping, your muscles are not recovering.
Yeah, so talk to me. You hit a great workout, right?
Yeah.
What's sleep doing to ensure you're getting the benefits of that workout?
We mentioned it on the...
Or what's the lack thereof sleep doing to the benefits you could potentially get?
Yeah, so we mentioned it on the resistance training episode, how when you do a muscle contraction, you're lifting weights. Remember I was saying you create
the rips, the
micro
tears,
tears?
yeah.
So you create micro tears in your muscle, and what those tears are in that fiber is allowing it to repair, and what that repair process does is actually grows it. So it's a good tear. It's a good micro tear. So without sleep, you can't repair those tears.
Because your muscles are relaxing during sleep and repairing?
Exactly. So what happens when we sleep is we have these things in our body called metabolites, which are just like byproducts of any process that our body goes through. So when we have those micro tears, it creates these byproducts that we need to get rid of so that we can put good stuff into it. When you're not sleeping, the only time you can get rid of those byproducts, those metabolites, those free radicals, is when you're sleeping.
Got it.
Because it's the only time your body has the complete ability to just flush itself out. The only time. So without doing that, you're just accumulating byproducts from the stress that you induced on your muscle, from the stress that you induced on your bones, from physical activity, or from the mental stress. You're just accumulating all of this, but you're not getting rid of it. It's like a sink. You have the sink clogged, it's filling up, and you're just not letting it drain. And sleep is what lets it drain. So that's physical.
With the analogies today.
I love the.
You're painting pictures. I'm out here. I'm in the kitchen. I'm watching the sink drain.
Yeah, I love analogies. It honestly helps me so much. Just like
that was good though.
So, dude, this is so hard to answer because I can go into so many different things. So we went performance. We went the mental side of it. I mean, dude, you want to get pretty serious, and this is near and dear to me. Is dementia and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Can't put a number to it, but I mean, man, I don't even know how to say, like, the percentage of cause that sleep deficiency is into all. I'm not saying this the right way.
I know what you're trying to say.
Like,
you're saying
nutrition and exercise is important.
What lack of sleep does to the percentage of getting, or your percentage of potentially having certain bad things that we don't like to talk about.
Yeah, man. Like, look, 90 to 95% of people are not getting efficient sleep. Maybe even more.
What do you want to define efficient sleep?
Yeah, so we'll get, because that's going to be the quality that we'll jump into.
Okay.
But I want to finish this off. So 90 to 95% of people plus are not getting efficient sleep.
That's a high number.
High
Is that
number.
a fact?
No, but I can tell you just from societal knowing.
I get you.
Because I don't even think I'm getting a sufficient amount of sleep, and I obviously
I
focus
don't
on
think
it.
I am either. So.
Right, so and at the same time, the rate of every chronic illness, dementia, obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, lung disease, cancer, I can keep going, is also skyrocketing.
You know what's crazy? You look at like diet or like processed foods, how it can skyrocket all those things you just said. You look at sleep, how it can do skyrocket, lack of exercise, obesity, stuff like that, how it can skyrocket, dementia, all those other things. And then you start checking the boxes. You're like, dude, there's just no way I don't get this stuff.
Yeah.
That's sad.
So, and what's crazy is like I can even find it. I actually do in my corporate wellness presentations and webinars. I go into this whole thing of sleep, and I start with the negatives of it. So I have it listed out. I could pull it up, but that's a short term list. Like obviously we got a little deep and trying to explain like the big why behind
picture,
it,
yeah.
But there's more. That's the crazy part. So. Let's. I mean, we can kind of.
Yeah. I mean,
shift over because there's so much I can get into with.
Yeah. Well, so I think people know that it's good for you. When we were younger, for some reason, I always had in my head 10 hours, and then as you got older, like you're kind of like that's not reasonable, like 8, and then 7's okay. I hear like what's my goal? What's my benchmark I'm trying to hit?
Yeah. So this is really cool because we always think about duration, and the general recommendation is that 7 to 8 hours, 7 to 9 hours, which is valid. But there's a couple of other things that I want to focus on. So it's not just duration. There's this really cool. So I'm going to do a little shout out. Dr. Matt Walker. He is one of the leading researchers in sleep. He has this book called Why We Sleep that I highly recommend.
Was he on Huberman?
Yeah.
I listened to that.
Yeah,
it was
so
really
he had
good.
a 6-series
I
lecture
listened
on
to.
Huberman.
I think you sent me it last year. It was pretty good.
So I listened to every single one of those. I've read his book. His book is unbelievable. And he has this thing called QQRT. And this is his way of thinking about whether you're getting good sleep or not. So it's quality. Let me start with quantity. It's quantity. So the number of hours we're getting. So that's that 7 to 9 hours.
Right.
Right. That's good. That's valid. We want that.
So 7 to 9 hours. That's the benchmark we're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. The better way to think about the quantity is what's called sleep opportunity, which basically means how much time you are giving yourself to sleep. So it's not don't try to get 7 to 9 hours because you're not going to be able to track that. If you're trying to get 7 hours of sleep, give yourself 10 hours of opportunity to sleep or 9 hours of sleep opportunity, which means 1.5 to 2 hours before bed. If you take a long time to go to sleep, then get in a little extra early. But you're giving yourself, knowing how much time you spend in bed before and after, most of the time is before. Extend that, focus on that timing so that you're giving yourself enough opportunity to when you actually fall asleep and you actually wake up. Right? So generally for some people, if you know you're going to be in bed for an hour and you want to sleep 7 hours, well, go to bed like 9 hours before you have to wake up.
Yeah.
Easier said than done. But again, if we're really focusing on the why behind this, people need to treat this like they treat exercise, like they treat nutrition,
Just
but
as
even
important.
more. Right? You need to sacrifice things in order to do this. Because look, at the end of the day, we are all busy. We all have to wake up early. We all have to do all this stuff, right? So I say all of this, understanding that, but also understanding that it is worth the sacrifice.
Do naps. Now I used to be a napper. I don't have
Pause
time.
that because we got to go through QQRT. We got to finish. I just went through Q.
I know, and you're pretty good.
So second Q. So we got quantity. Second Q is quality. So quality of sleep. This is the phases of sleep that I'm talking about, right? We need to get the sufficient amount of NREM sleep and REM sleep. Let's not go into the specifics because we can ramble on that. At the end of the day, you just want to give yourself enough sleep duration so that you're giving yourself enough opportunity to get the stages of sleep.
Yeah, what did he say? Did he say something like you go through like 90-minute cycles like in your sleep or something like that?
Yeah, and it's different.
I know
for
we're getting in the weeds, but that was pretty cool. If you can listen to that podcast or we can link it somewhere, it was cool like just to see someone who's such an expert like break it down.
It's so fascinating.
And like I know.
That's why I don't want to go too deep in the phases because all the benefits that we were going to go through go into different phases of sleep.
Right. But if you're into that, check that out because that thing's
simple example. That memory consolidation, that whole thing we went through, that's REM sleep.
Got it.
Which is, think about this real quick to paint a picture. REM sleep is the later stage of sleep. What do most people do? They artificially cut off their sleep with an alarm clock. So they are cutting off their sleep during that REM stage of sleep, during that memory consolidation stage of sleep, it's tough. It's toughy.
How good do you think these devices are that we wear at tracking the stages of sleep, the Auras, the Apple Watches?
They're good, not great. When it comes to these watches across the board, any data, take it with a grain of salt. Don't take it literal, and don't let it influence any decisions that you make either.
Gotcha.
If it tells you that
I like that. That was well said.
Yeah, if it's telling you that you got bad sleep, placebo. You're gonna think that you got bad sleep, and you could literally, by just looking at the sleep quality that your watch gives you, change your mood for the day if it's gonna give you a bad one.
Me and a buddy were just talking about that. Literally, like, he was like, I didn't sleep well last night, and I was like, oh really? He's like, yeah, like I actually thought I did, but my watch told me I didn't, and he's like, I might take this fucking thing off because the way that it's affecting me right now is crazy.
So what I ended up doing, because I had the same problem when I had the Whoop. I have a Garmin now, but I had the Whoop. I wouldn't let myself look at it until past like 1 p.m.
That's
nice. And then I would look.
Because at that point you're already going.
Yeah. So quality. That's the main thing to focus on. Is if you're giving yourself enough sleep opportunity, you're gonna kind of fix the quality problem because you're giving yourself enough time to get into those stages.
Right.
QQR, regularity. So regularity is how consistent you are going to bed and waking up at the same times. This is so freaking important, and I don't, again, want to say more important than the other two, but one of the best things people can do, I mentioned it when we were talking about circadian rhythm, your internal clock. One of the best things that you can do is go to bed and wake up at the same time, and which is why one of my recommendations is to not actually try to catch up on sleep. And it's to try to sleep, and don't try to sleep in. And Dr. Matthew Walker actually mentioned this as well.
That was crazy. I was going to ask you, can you oversleep?
Because you're just messing with the circadian rhythm, that internal clock, so then you're going to affect the following day or the following night. So what I do is if I don't get to bed on time, I'm still waking up at the same time because I don't want to sacrifice 2 nights sleep. I'm only going to sacrifice 1. I'm not going to sacrifice 2 by sleeping in and then messing up that next night. So you just want to try to regulate your internal clock as quickly as possible, and you want to go to bed at the same time, and you want to wake up at the same time as consistently as possible. That's the regularity side of it. All right, so QQR. T is timing. All right, so this is your timing, not in terms of what time you go to bed. It's timing, well, actually it kind of is, in terms of sleep based off your chronological timing. So you have night owls and morning larks. That's a real thing.
Never heard of the morning lark.
Some people are morning people. Some people are night people. If you are a night person, meaning you go to bed later, okay. And again, this is where the realistic side of things doesn't go well because you can't sleep in if people have work and stuff like that. But if you're a night person, you got to consider sleeping in because then you got to get the same amount of hours.
Right.
Because you're staying up late. If you're a morning person, you got to go to bed early because then you're giving yourself that sleep opportunity. So, but sleeping within your sleep timing, within your chronological timing, that will change over time too, or you can change it too, is very important. Because then you're not going to, one of the best examples is kids, right? We have kids who, their sleep timing, what do? They stay up so late, but then we're waking them up at 6:30 for school. But like, as a parent, you want to get them to bed early, but they're not.
It's just not
as a kid.
realistic.
A kid's chronological time is late, and then you kind of, as you get older, it scales back. That's why old people go to bed early. It's classic. It's because it changes over time.
Wait, so you kind of just threw me off. So when I was younger or in like high school, I was always taught like someone taught me on this that if you fall behind on sleep, so say you're shooting for 10 hours and you get 6, you can it's not like you can make up for it. So if on Monday you get 6, if on Tuesday you get 6, you're 8 hours behind. You can sleep 18 and your body's back and you're back. False.
So I don't want to say false,
but you wouldn't recommend it because it's messing with your circadian rhythm.
Right. I wouldn't recommend it because your what's directly correlated. This will actually make a lot of sense. Your circadian rhythm is directly controlling your phases of sleep. So when you're changing the timing and the regularity of your sleep schedule, your body doesn't know when to go into what stage of sleep because that internal clock is so messed up. Yeah, it's so confused. So when 6:30 comes around, you typically get up for work and get ready to go, and your body is starting to recognize that, and so it goes from REM sleep to start getting you into waking sleep because it's anticipating you're waking up.
Right.
But then it does that, but you're sleeping in. So it's going to have that anticipation and cut off that. So the phases of sleep are completely messed up because your internal clock is completely messed up.
Interesting.
So it's not false in terms of, yes, you're catching up on the hours of sleep, but that's only the quantity of sleep. And we just mentioned three others.
So you're checking one box.
You're checking one of the four. That's why I love Dr. Matthew Walker bringing up that QQRT. So I'm happy we spent a lot of time on that because that's quality. Quality sleep, so important. So you asked me you were about to pivot, and then I cut you off.
No, I think we were talking about quality. What number should they be shooting for?
No, after I went through quantity, you brought something up. It wasn't the watch.
We were talking naps.
Naps. All right, let's go naps. So naps is great. This is a quickie.
Yeah, well, I thought you kind of put a fork in it because you just said you kind of confused your body.
No, so naps, but there's a way to do it.
Gotcha.
So
you a nap guy?
I am not personally.
No?
I'm just not a nap guy.
Dude, when I was younger, coming home from school, I would rip it.
Yeah, I'm not a nap guy, but what is the most common thing with naps? A lot of people wake up more tired than when they go to sleep or take the nap, right? Yeah. Do you feel that a lot? You're just way more tired when you woke up?
Yeah, I don't do it much anymore, but yes, I did.
So there is a way to nap.
I don't want to get up. I don't want the nap to end.
That's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid sleeping too long, taking a nap for too long, that you actually get in a stage of sleep. That you get into a deep stage of sleep.
Because then now you're cutting it off.
Because now you're actually sleeping.
Yeah.
Versus if you take a nap, like literally a 20 to 30 minute nap. Sounds crazy. Little cat nap. What actually happens is you're going to be in a light stage of sleep, but you're not going to go into a deep phase. So you're not going to actually go into that rest or recovery stage. What's actually happens is that 20, 30 minute nap's literally going to feel like 3 hours. But it's only 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you are going to nap, keep it quick. Really focus on cutting that thing off. If you're trying to get a 30-minute nap, set a 45-minute timer because it's going to take a little bit of time to go to sleep. That's the best, the safest way to do it.
Smart.
And then just try not to do it too late in the day.
That's fair.
Yeah. Naps.
God, I wish I could go back to napping. You don't understand. I used to love just
30-minute nap on the beach though. What are we talking about?
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, that's
just the sun hitting you.
But regularly, I haven't napped in years.
Yeah, but
it's a vibe.
Oh, now you're making me think of the beach.
Don't nap right now. Come on.
That's
we're thinking about the beach.
That's what I'm saying. If you turn over, you get the sun hitting you. A little chocolate chip cookie on the skin. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whew.
Crisp. Should we go into supplementation then and sleep aids?
Well, so going to supplementation.
So
specifically for sleep.
Anything specific? So we touched on magnesium. Any other ones that you've heard of?
Like I said, I don't know much about sleep aids. Are you talking you ever see those things that people put on their nose for the breathing?
Those are...
Dude, I've been seeing the ones lately on Instagram where, you probably saw it, where you put, a magnetic thing on here, and it, clips and it opens up.
You know what's funny? Nick literally just got me one, and I haven't used it yet, and I can't wait.
The magnetic one?
Yeah. So
I'm interested in it. You gotta tell me.
I'll let you know when I use it. They're wild because it literally just opens up your nostril.
You see the video.
They're great. It's just giving you a better... So, one thing with sleep is actually nose breathing. That's really important.
The tape. The mouth tape.
Yeah,
so that is a sleep aid.
I'm not doing that.
Well, I breathe through my nose.
I'm not mouth taping.
Are you a mouth breather?
No, so in grad school, I went through a period of time where I really focused on nose breathing. So all I did was I would do a little breathing exercise right.
You mean during the day and then lingered into your sleep?
No, at night.
Oh, really?
So what I would do is when I got into bed and I was about to fall asleep, I would just fall asleep to nose breathing, but it was also kind of like a meditation breath work type thing. So I would literally just breathe in the nose, out the mouth, and then I just did that for a long period of time, and eventually I became a nose breather.
So that's the other thing. They always say in your nose, out your mouth, obviously. When I sleep, I go in my nose, out my nose.
That's fine.
Oh, okay.
In your nose, out your mouth. I'm just used to it, especially with endurance.
Yeah, that's what you try to do. But do you go in nose, out nose?
Depends, actually. No, probably not because
think you go out
I
your
don't
mouth?
think I sleep with my mouth open. But I don't.
We can video you.
You don't. Nah, and you don't know because when you go to sleep anyway, like you can't really control it.
No.
So, just breathing in the nose, whether it's out the mouth or out the nose. I think it's out the nose is what I was doing. But I was just doing like 5 minutes, and I would fall asleep to nose breathing, and that really helped. But so.
Well, they say actually focusing. I saw a couple videos. They say saw a couple videos like that came out of the Marines. I think on Instagram, like focusing. The number one thing you can get is like doing a breathing exercise before bed. You'll go to bed like that.
Oh my gosh, it's so relaxing.
Yeah, but you'll just.
It's so
sleep.
relaxing. It's so because you're
I was talking to Lauren the other day, and she's like, I can't sleep. I'm like, this is literally the analogy I use. You're gonna be like, dude, you're fucking. Why are you being so serious? I said, Laura. These Navy SEALs were on the way over to kill Bin Laden, and I heard a story. Some of them were sleeping on the chopper ride over. They're ready to do the biggest thing they've ever done in their life, and they're sleeping. You don't think you can fucking fall asleep on a Tuesday night? My man's about to die in the front yard in Afghanistan. You can't sleep on a Tuesday night?
Well, they also haven't slept in 8 days. But yeah.
But they're just like so like they just know, like they're so dialed. They know, this is going to relax me. Let me do my breathing technique and I'll be out. And then I'll wake up and I'll be ready to go.
The best state to get in.
They're freaks.
The best state to get in to prepare yourself for sleep is you're just trying to lower your heart rate as much as possible. And that's why those breathing exercises work so well. That's why the nighttime routine works so well is because you're winding down versus a lot of people go from moving all over the place and then try to lay down. Their heart rate's already elevated, and then so you really want to drop your heart rate.
Dude, she looked at me. She was like, "What's your problem?"
You're hanging out with me too much.
I was like, I don't know. That was crazy.
That was wild.
That I just dropped that story on you.
I love it though. It's true. So sleep aids and supplementation in general, I already kind of preface with like before people just jump into it, especially with like sleep pills and like a lot of these supplements. The problem with them,
can you name a few? Because I really don't know them. Like, do you know?
So
like,
yeah, the main one I want to focus on is melatonin. Melatonin is a big sleep aid that's huge.
Is that a medicine or a subscription?
You mean prescription drugs?
No, I don't know.
No, so there are out there. I couldn't name them.
Are you talking like NyQuil and stuff?
Yes.
Oh.
So those are over the counter, but yes, those would be considered sleep aids.
Gotcha.
So
what are they doing?
Here's the problem. So some of those over the counters, prescriptions, supplements, a lot of them, what they're actually just doing is helping you fall asleep, but they're disrupting your stages of sleep. They're disrupting your circadian rhythm. They're not getting you to get that quality. They're only checking off one box. Quantity.
Do you know the science behind like how their ability to do that? Like, are they just tricking your body?
So for example, with melatonin. So melatonin, this is good because I actually want to get into melatonin a little bit. What happens with melatonin is we have natural melatonin in our body. And what melatonin is it's a signal that melatonin sends a signal to our body to say, hey, it's time to go to sleep. And by taking melatonin, you're just giving a stronger signal.
Oh, so melatonin is just what naturally is produced in our body that tells us
to
like,
start
let's
the
go.
process of our body shutting down to
so
go to
you're
sleep. You're artificially doing it. But what happens is most people get so reliant on melatonin that without it, their natural levels of melatonin is not enough to stimulate that process. So melatonin is really good for jet lag when you're traveling, for those once in a while situations. But if you're constantly taking melatonin, I would not recommend. I would not recommend.
Would you even recommend in those jet lag whatever situations?
Yes, absolutely.
Have you taken it before?
If I had it when I went to London, I would have absolutely done it, but I just didn't have it. I actually meant to get it and I forgot.
I'm oblivious to the sleep aid game.
Yeah. So and then the other like over the counter ones, you just and I'll keep it broad. Like in general, what those are doing is just getting people to fall asleep, but it's not allowing them to get the quality. So that's where you want to be careful. But some of the I don't personally take any other like sleep specific supplements other than magnesium, because one, nutrition is huge in this. Exercise is huge in this. Specifically with nutrition, for example, carbohydrates, sugar. What is the most common thing to do before bed?
I got a question. What is it?
Have dessert. Have a high sugary food. And what sugar does is sugar literally activates the brain. So we're activating the brain right before we're trying to go to sleep. Then we're also forcing our body to digest food while it's trying to not digest food. It's trying to completely rest and chill. So nutrition is a big piece of that.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about habits. It just popped in my head. Like, we talked about drinking and nighttime habits and stuff like that. I know some people who, like, will smoke before bed. Is that affecting with their sleep at all?
Marijuana, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Or, I guess, or nicotine.
so it's a.
Well, we can get into nicotine. Nicotine's going to be
No,
but
people
people
don't usually do nicotine unless they have a high tolerance for it or drinking, because nicotine is a stimulant.
Right. Yeah, but specifically I was talking about smoking weed.
Yeah, marijuana. So it's very similar to a supplement or over the counter. It's helping you fall asleep, but it's messing with
It is messing with
the
your
phases
sleep.
of sleep. Absolutely. And they need to do more research with it. That's not clear cut, but more and more is coming out about it messing with the stages of sleep. But it's very new, and the research is very, very young on it. So
Yeah, I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
Like I saw something the other day where you can have like a sleep, or you can have like a hangover the next day from it.
yeah,
They call
so
it like a
this is
weed
where-
hangover.
The interesting thing that I've seen with marijuana, because Huberman has talked about it, and then I went to the guy that he had on and went to some of his lectures and stuff to hear about it. And what's interesting about it is it's very person dependent. So like the hangovers or
Gotcha.
psychosis, like overthinking and like getting into that.
It just made me think that it's definitely doing something. Like whether it affects you or not, it's doing something.
It's doing something because it's just messing with your brain.
Yeah.
So, but it is very person dependent. But that's a good example of something that is going to help you fall asleep, but not going to optimize the stages of sleep, the quality of sleep. So, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of supplements out there. Honestly, like, I much rather people, because I know for a fact, because I'm one of them, that instead of just supplementing, people need to focus on the actual routine and
done the
habit
right way.
of sleeping. So that's why we can cut the supplementation conversation short, because I know so many people aren't even focused on sleep or aren't even trying to focus on sleep, because it's very hard. Very, very hard.
Yeah, it's almost like you focus on it, you get kind of wrapped up in your own head, and then you're overthinking it, and then like all of a sudden you've been sitting in your bed. Like the worst is, and I've only gone through it a couple times, you need to get sleep. So then you're in bed, you're thinking I need to get sleep, and you're harping on it to yourself. All of a sudden a half hour goes by, you could have been asleep, and you were sitting there like stressing yourself out.
So that's the
I think
hardest
that
part of
happens
sleep.
more often than people think.
Happens to everyone. Happens to me. Happens
Yeah.
to the best sleep experts.
Yeah, you're just worrying about getting sleep, because you know how important it is. You're like, I want to get it.
Yeah, and that's why the night before a huge presentation or a huge meeting, you're not going to sleep, right? And so this is where I really want to emphasize where sleep is very different from like exercise and nutrition, where nutrition, just don't have the bad foods, eat the good foods. You have a direct control of that. You don't have a direct control of sleep, which is why it's an ongoing battle, which is why also people should not try to perfect it, because you're not going to. But if you have one of those nights, all right, it's one of those nights. Like I had one of those nights a couple nights ago. I could not sleep. My mind was just constantly thinking about work, different ideas. And when I get into those modes, there's nothing I can do. I can't just shut it off.
Right.
I try to do things. I try to do breathing meditation and stuff like that. But there are some times where I can't fall asleep. So what do is I might have to throw on my iPod or iPod, jeez. I'm like going back
Holy
to
crap.
2000 iPad, or throw on a podcast or do stuff that I wouldn't recommend, but just to get me through that night.
Yeah.
But those nights only happen so often. So that's
few
so
and far
important.
between.
It's not like any of the other aspects of health that you can just do.
Right.
You just got to work on it. Majority. You're trying to get most of the nights of the week with good sleep.
It's so important.
So important. I mean, I can't emphasize this enough. I don't know how to go. You can't go through all the benefits, because it quite literally goes into every single aspect of our human body. Every single one.
Yeah.
So, any other closing questions? Joe, I hope we answered your question. Recommend magnesium.
You think he sleeps well?
Joe? Yeah. He sleeps like a bear.
Dude's a dog.
He's a big bear.
That's it, man.
Come on.
That's it. I gotta go for. He lives close by now. I gotta go for a walk with him.
Walk to him, walk, and then walk back.
Yeah.
How far is that?
Nah, he's close. He's like a mile away.
Oh, cool.
1.5.
If you guys have any questions on sleep, please comment them below. There are so many different actual specific
Don't ask
topics
Joe
we can
though.
get into.
Joe don't know shit about sleep.
If anyone wants to have a
Oh
listener
yeah.
question,
Let us know.
we would absolutely love to do a live call and a live listener question. But we are going to.
You know what? My cousin texted me about a question we should do. He was like, I said, hit me with some stuff, and he's like, the only thing I can think of at the moment is like talking about supplements and creatine. So we should go into that.
You know what's funny?
What?
I was gonna say I know you know what the next topic for the next episode is gonna be. Should we leak it? And absolutely, we should leak it.
We should, yeah.
So
it's kind of a list of questions, kind of not. It was one of the things we wanted to do, but
So we're gonna jump into episode 7 specifically about creatine, and I'm very excited because this was what my master's degree was on, and I looked at way too many studies. So appreciate everyone watching. We will see you on episode 7. Peace.
peace.